By the end of this video, you are going to know exactly how to buy a house without a real estate agent. And the reason why you need to know how to buy a house without a real estate agent is because coming August of 2024, buyers are going to be responsible for paying their own buyer agent fees in the event that the seller is not going to pay it. So a lot of real estate agents are going to start asking you to sign these buyer agency agreements so that they know that if the seller is not going to pay their fee, then the buyer will have to in turn pay the fee. Now, I did a whole video about this entire real estate lawsuit that's going on with the National Association of Realtors. So I'll go ahead and link that up here so you can watch it later, so you can understand what's going on in the real estate world when it comes to buying and selling residential real estate. The fact is, the Department of Justice wants buyers to pay for their own representation during the sale of a transaction of real estate. Now, currently, sellers are paying that fee, and it can range. There's a lot of different prices that it can range from, right? So it could be different from agent to agent. So my goal here today is to help you save money in the event that you need to find a house and buy without a real estate agent. Maybe you've bought in the past before, maybe you understand real estate a little bit more and you'd rather buy it on your own. Maybe it's a personal sale that is pretty easy and straightforward. You're just transferring to within family or something very easy where you can just totally do it yourself. Buying and selling real estate is not hard. It's very simple, but the biggest thing is making sure that you comply with all of the deadlines and all of the legal stuff, because you are responsible for what happens if you're going to be buying a house in Colorado. You don't want to open yourself up to any litigation, and you want to make sure that you are buying a good investment that you are going to be proud of and that you're not going to regret years down the line. Now, the very first thing that you're going to want to do is get a pre-approval, and that means meeting with your lender, getting them all the docs to show and prove that you are well qualified for this home, that you're not going to be wasting anybody's time, because frankly, if you don't have a real estate agent and you try to buy a house and approach somebody and they don't know you from Adam, then they're not going to be as trustworthy as if you had representation with a good, reputable agent. Obviously, in our industry, we get to know each other as colleagues, and we know who we can trust and who we can't trust in this field, how long the agent has been in business, and whether we've done business transactions before together. These are all signals for the agent and seller to be able to trust that buyer. So this is the very first thing that you have to do right away, is get that pre-approval. So find a good lender. You may have one that you already know, but just know that there are different programs out there that are specific to different types of situations. So that's why I always recommend getting a handful of different lenders that you can talk to, interview them, ask them what types of products are going to meet your needs, and then go from there. A lot of lenders will automatically just want to have you fill out an application to see if you're qualified. But for me, I like to just have an interview. What products do you have? I'm a veteran. Can I use my VA loan? I mean, VA loans are going to be pretty much the same across the board. The only thing different that maybe one lender can do versus another is maybe offer you a free appraisal or help cover some of those closing costs. But if you're doing a conventional loan, I highly recommend that you shop rates. Even VA loans, I highly recommend that you shop around for the best rate, because the way that the rates work, and I'm not going to go real deep into this, so sit with me for just a second. They have a rate that the Fed sets, and then from there, the lenders are going to charge up to make a profit off of that loan. And I'm not a lender, so I'm not going to go through it, but there is wiggle room. It's not a hard set interest rate for every situation. All right, so once you've got that taken care of, you're going to have them write you a pre-approval letter that you can then take with you to say, hey, I've been vetted. Make sure you use a local lender though, because that's going to give you a little more credibility when it comes to buying a house, that it's actually a pre-approval, that you actually spoke with someone. If it's going to be an online pre-qualification, that's not going to be as good as an actual pre-approval with a local lender. Trust me on this. Now, some lenders are going to wait until you find an actual property that you're going to write the offer on so that they can write the amount for what the house is listed at, or the offer price that you're going to write. So keep that in mind. You might be pre-approved for $700,000, but you only want to spend $600,000, and you don't want to show your cards to the listing agent and they can use that against you. Well, they're approved for $700K, maybe we can squeeze a little bit more out of them. All right, so now that you've got your pre-approval, the next thing you're going to do is look at the house. So whether you are looking on Zillow or Realtor or Homes.com, you're going to see a house and you're going to look for the open house opportunity. That's when you want to go in, take a look at the house. That way you're kind of not left alone, but not bothered by anybody. Usually you just go through and tour it on your own. But if there's not an open house, then you're going to have to get into the house and you're going to have to call the listing agent to see if you can look at the property. Now, the listing agent, when you call them, they're going to ask you if you're represented by a buyer, and they're also going to probably try and convince you to work with their team and pay that fee. Now, just keep in mind, this video is about how to buy a house without a real estate agent. And so if you're going to hire one, you don't want to hire the listing agent's team. And the reason for that is because they are advocating for the seller. If there is a member on that team, it is likely that they are going to be more friendly with the seller side than with the buyer side. So you want to find representation that's going to look out for your own best interest and not the team member, or you're not helping the team win as much. So just something to think about. They're going to probably try and get you to sign with them, but make sure that you read everything and you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. So just let them know that you plan to buy the house without the assistance of a buyer agent. So this is how you are going to find the listing agent information. If you are on Zillow, if you were to request a tour or contact agent, this is going to go to a Zillow Premier agent that is paying for your information. So you don't want to do that. Well, you could if you wanted to just ask some questions, but their goal is to get you to buy with them. So you're going to scroll all the way down to underneath the description, and it's going to have their information here. See, like how this one has my information. I'm the listing agent. This is not going to go to me. It's going to go to a different agent. This, you can call me here. So that's how you're going to do that on Zillow. Now, what I like about Homes.com is that when you go to a listing, it's going to take you directly to that agent. You don't have to click on any. See here to the right, it's going to take you to me directly. So once you send a message, it's actually going to me if you just want to schedule a showing or get more information about the listing. The contracts that you're going to find, you're going to have to write a contract to buy and sell, and you can find that in the description below this video. There's going to be a link that'll take you to all of the contracts, and you're going to look for the contract to buy and sell real estate. You're going to fill that out and make sure that those dates are dates that you can work with. So there are dates for title to do certain things. There are dates for inspections. All of these dates are legal. If you decide to cancel a contract based on inspection items, you need to make sure you do it before the inspection termination deadline. Now, I have a free contract timeline that is available for you to download in the description below this video. It's going to go over every single item and what it is and how it affects you during the sales process of buying a house. So you're going to find a home that meets your budget. You're going to make sure that the HOA is not too expensive. If there is one, if there's no HOA, that can be reflected in the price. So just use your mortgage calculator, which I have on my website. You can use that for free. And you go in and plug in all of your numbers, and then you're going to add on your insurance, the homeowner insurance. And whether you have private mortgage insurance or not, that all needs to be included in that monthly payment. HOA, metro taxes, and property taxes. So you need to configure all of that within your monthly payment to determine how much of a house you can buy and what that monthly payment is going to afford you. And talking to your lender and keeping that open communication with them is going to help you understand how much you're going to be paying per month. Now, usually your real estate agent helps you coordinate all of this. So if this is intimidating for you, please feel free to reach out. I will offer a one-on-one consultation, just a 15-minute one-on-one consultation just because you watched this video. I am a licensed real estate agent in the state of Colorado, so I would be more than happy to help you at least get you on your journey in the right direction. Now, if there's anything that you don't understand throughout this video, you have to hire a lawyer. You're gonna have to get someone to help you. But I have found that if you go to ChatGPT and take and copy and paste a section and tell it to summarize this for a third grader, that might help you understand. Maybe you just kind of aren't sure, you think you know what it means, but you just want to be absolutely sure because again, these are legal documents. Then you can just throw it in there and it'll spit it out and have a summary for you that a third grader could understand. Now, if you still don't understand what the paragraph is saying, you need to hire a lawyer. And lawyers can range. There are places that charge per hour, but I can't stress enough how legal consequences are a real thing. You can lose your earnest money if you don't do this the right way. And worst case scenario, the seller sues you because you wasted months and months of their time. Now, when you're looking at these homes, say like you do get a appointment and you're able to view the property, you're not going to be in there for hours and hours. You're just going to go in, and if it's something that you think that you are really excited about, then you'll write the offer. Now, there's ways that you can look up a lot of the public information online, such as when the water heater had been replaced. Those are things that the seller also needs to let you know, but I know a lot of you guys like to do the research on your own. So you can always call the county to find out more information about the roof and all those major items. So now you're gonna write the offer and go through all the deadlines and how to set up those deadlines. You're gonna have to just do, right? Because you're doing it on your own. Just think in your mind, typically it's gonna be a 30-day close and you're gonna need a time for inspection, right? So maybe 7 to 10 days you're going to want to put that in your contract that you're going to have an inspection, and then based on the results of the inspection, decide whether you'll continue or not. So that's going to be your termination deadline. Now, say you do want to continue, but then you want to make sure that the seller fixes these things, then that is the inspection objection, and you'll send that out to show that, hey, we want to continue moving forward, but we would really like for the seller to fix these things before we do. And then the seller is going to agree to them or not agree or do some of it, all of it. It really just depends on the seller and what their bottom dollar line is. And you will be negotiating, unless it's a for sale by owner, you will be negotiating that with the skilled listing agent. If it's something minor, you probably don't want to address it in fear of the seller backing out because they're worried that you're nitpicking. But if it's something where, of course, you know, the railing is loose, we should probably get that fixed. Or maybe there's some other health and safety items that you want to address that are big ticket items, then that's something that you are going to want to address in the contract. Now, I have a full course that goes super deep into all of this. This is just a very high level overview of how to buy a house without a real estate agent. Now, if you want to go deep in, there is a course linked below in the description of this video. All right, so now the seller is legally required to submit disclosure documents that include square footage review, things that they know about the house, the property disclosure, whether there's lead-based paint, whether there is floor plans, and all these different things that somebody would need to know about a house before they actually buy. Those are all things that sellers need to know. Now, sometimes sellers don't really know everything, but they are legally obligated to share all those things with you. That is also part of the due diligence period. Anything that they know about the property easements, maybe someone has been using the property, maybe the shed in the back is being rented out by somebody. Maybe there is a cottage that is being rented out by somebody. Those are all things that you have to investigate and look into. That way, you know, 5 years down the road, you didn't know that the stuff in the shed didn't belong to the owner, and then the true owner comes wanting to collect their things. So all of that needs to be disclosed, and you really need to do your due diligence in finding out all those things. Also, you're going to want to look at the HOA. They need to send you all the HOA information, all the budget for the HOA. Make sure that they have plenty of money in reserves so that you know that it's a well-run HOA. And you also need to research that HOA on Google. Read the reviews, find out if it's going to be something that is more of a headache and it's going to cause you a lot of stress down the line. Then you might not want to participate in that specific HOA. Make sure that you get a copy of the covenant restrictions, or if it's in a metro district, those restrictions as well. So during all this time, your lender is going to be processing your paperwork. So make sure you get everything to them in a timely manner. Otherwise, this could delay closing. If there is a delayed closing, the seller is not obligated to sign an amendment to extend the contract. So make sure that you are staying on top of everything. Anything that is going to cause you to have to write something new into the contract, the seller doesn't have to sign it and you could potentially lose your earnest money. So once the lender finalizes everything, you're going to get a clear to close, which just means everything's been finalized, you're ready to go, and then you're going to go ahead and schedule your closing. Once you have your closing scheduled, I like to do a final walkthrough hours before closing if possible. You're going to make sure that all the receipts from the inspection are completed and provided to you before closing. That way you can address those issues before the closing, but still where it's enough time to make sure that everybody did what they were supposed to do, fix repairs and things like that. I like to do my closings around 12 o'clock on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I've seen it where people go into deposit maybe whatever they're paying for at closing, and either the bank didn't have it or they had to do it a certain way. Maybe they needed certified funds. Maybe you can't transfer that large amount of money over the phone. You might have to go in person to do a large transfer. Now, before you do the closing, I highly recommend that you ask the seller for who they use for lawn maintenance, for trash, for recycling. Make sure you get the gate code and the mailbox key number. When I bought my house, my agent did not do any of that stuff for me, which is why I became a real estate agent. If there's anything that I missed, please put those in the comments section below. I will get back to them. If you want a one-on-one consultation, don't forget that that is available to you just for watching this video. If you plan on buying a house, unfortunately, I can't be, I'm very busy and I can't talk, housing or real estate. But if you are serious about buying real estate in Colorado, I can do that consultation for you. Quick common mistakes that people make that most lenders don't tell their clients, which I think is so bizarre, is making large cash deposits. They're gonna wanna track everything. So if you get $5,000 from your sister, maybe just hold off. Don't do anything crazy. Don't quit your job. Don't apply for a new credit. Don't buy a new car. You can still pay your bills and your debt. Talk with your lender and find out and make sure. And just save all of your pay stubs, save everything. Again, this will all be linked in the description so you don't have to try and memorize and remember it all. If you want to learn more about why buyers have to pay their own buyer agent fees, make sure you watch this video. It's going to explain the whole thing. And if you need help buying or selling real estate in Colorado, please reach out. I am your Colorado real estate resource.